Hello everyone, this is Chris from Cristello Fitness, and today is day 2 of talking about life's milestones. So today I wanted to talk to you about kind of the next thing that happened. Yesterday I talked about prom, and right after that my son got his driver's permit. So, whew, scary stuff. Exciting for the kids, but for parents, lots of emotions. We want to set our kids up for success, and doing that, we also have these fears around that. We want them to be responsible. We want them to be independent. But these things come up, and when you're in it, it's scary. It's emotional. I talked a little bit yesterday about, okay, when they walk and when they crawl, it's like you don't want them to fall and get hurt. Well, pretty scary now when they get in a car. And then getting in the car with them and having them drive and to try to be calm and relaxed. And so my son says, "Mom, can I drive?" And I'm thinking, normally, like every time I do something, I'm in a rush and it's last minute. And the thought of being in the car with him and having to teach him and learn, and then I need to get somewhere fast is not going to work for me. But I know he needs to get in the car. I know he needs to practice. And that's only going to make him a better driver. And that's going to give me more faith and comfort knowing that he's learning and going to be a safe driver. So it's like that catch-22. You want him to practice, but you're scared to be in the car. So I guess I have to leave this job to my husband. So that's kind of the next thing that we're at right now. And eventually then it's the license and then getting in the car and then he's driving by himself. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm going to manage it all. And I think this is a really, really, really hard one for me because I have a huge fear about the car and being in the car. I lost my sister at a young age in a car accident, and that fear sits inside me. I'm always preaching, and these are some of my tips about with teenagers and getting in the car, and I'm sure you've all had this talk with your kids, but no drinking, no alcohol in the car, no texting. And I have in the back of my head what happened with my sister. So my kids know my fear and they know I can't live through something like that again. And I hope that I've instilled that enough in them that they go out and they make smart decisions. I feel like nowadays kids are much better about making those decisions. A lot of times, people have that opportunity for Uber, and they're staying somewhere. And, those are part of the other things too, is don't get in the car with somebody else. It's not just yourself driving, but be smart and know who's driving that car and where they've been and what they've been doing. And, make that phone call to me and say you're staying somewhere, or I will come pick you up. And I want my kids to know I am not going to be upset with them if they make that phone call with me. I don't really want that phone call in the middle of the night, but I'll take that rather than the phone call saying that something happened to them. So really, really scary times, just really teaching them, other things about being on the road is being respectful. And, I feel like I'm a little bit of a lead foot and I'm a little bit of a crazy driver. So I have to set an example. So I feel like I need to really be the smart driver now. I need to be respectful on the road. You're not cutting people off. You're not, chucking someone the finger or whatever. Because, seriously, you can't. There are crazy people out there, and there's so much road rage out there. So I want them to teach them to be respectful on the road, just like they need to be respectful in school and their jobs and everywhere else in life. You need to do the same out on the street. And so again, as parents, we need to set that example. And I want to teach as I'm driving. And, my son just asked me the other day, is this, a certain road? And I'm like, yes. And this one is this. And, because they see us and drive, but, we don't say what road we're driving on. So they need to learn all of that. There's just so much involved in that, and it's so scary, but it's also a good thing because as a parent, we're running around all over the place. We're dropping kids off at school. We're picking them up. We're bringing them to practice. We're picking them up. They want to go out with their friends. So once he's driving, like he can do a lot of that himself. Or I'm in the middle of baking something and I need eggs. I could say, can you go to the store for me? So it's kind of like those things that he can actually help with. And so we have to look at the pros, the cons, the goods, the bads, and, and the whole point of, guiding our children, teaching them life lessons and teaching them to be responsible, teaching them to be independent, and making the best decisions that they can make. Sean, all the way from DC, and you're visiting me. Yes, bring my baby home. So I just wanted to share a little bit about some of the emotions and feelings I'm having, and some of you could, I'm sure, relate so much to all the things that are happening as we have teenagers and kids this age, and ending of the school year, and just all the things that happen, and being in that time frame and being in that moment, and taking that time to keep teaching our kids, teaching them about being responsible, making the right decisions. And yes, the whole driving is so fearful, but it's like that next step in life. I mean, I can't even imagine, in a couple years, that like it's graduating in college and weddings, but when you're in it, it's stressful in that time. And so I just kind of wanted to share some of my feelings and some of my tips of how I try to instill good values in my kids. So when they are becoming more and more independent, they're learning on their own to make the right decisions and still be respectful and kind when they're out and about, and whether it's driving on the road, whether it's in school, whether it's at their job. So I thank you for listening. Tomorrow I'm moving on to my final life milestone, although it doesn't stop there. So check in tomorrow. I will be sharing a little bit about school trips and graduation and things like that. So thanks so much. I will be sharing my blog with just a little bit more details, and I appreciate you listening. And those of you who are in it with me, share your thoughts, share your feelings, and any tips that you have. The more we share and help one another, the easier it is that we can get through some of these life milestones. Thanks, and have a great weekend. Bye.